Hello guys, welcome to Data Platform Virtual Summit 2022. We all are excited to be here. And my name is Balram Prasad and I'm working with Microsoft as a senior software engineer. So today I'm going to talk about how we can author publish policy inside Microsoft Purview and what are the workflow inside Microsoft Purview. In using this, our goal is that how to enable access to the right data for the right set of users. So agenda of this session will be that I will go with some slides and we will talk about some of the concept around this one. And then we will have demo where we will create Purview account. Then we will connect data sources with Purview account. And then we will create policies and create workflow. That will be agenda of this demo. So let's talk about Microsoft Purview. Microsoft Purview is a unified data governance solution that maximizes the business value of the data inside any organization. We all know that data is growing daily by daily inside any organization. How to manage this data, how we can get the holistic view of the data, what are the different data which we have inside our organization, what are the different classifications of this data is there, what is the different end-to-end lineage, who is generating this data, who is consuming this data, how it is being transformed, how the data curators can manage and secure the data state, how we can empower data consumer to find valuable and trustworthy data. When we see this image, Microsoft Purview provides a governance portal where different personas can come and do their activity. Like data producer can come and set up their scans so that Microsoft Purview can scan their data sets, data sources, and discover about the data, that what type of data resides in there. And when we will do setup, we can set up the role sets to scanning purpose so that it can discover the classification about the data and other things also. It can provide labeling also to this data. We can do manually also using API and other things. The other persona which we see, that different consumer can come to a single central place and they can discover the data, they can learn about data in a single place, they can request the access of the data. Think about data officer perspective, that they can see all the policy around this data, they can create new policy, they can attach new policy to this data, they can revoke some access to that from single place. And leaders can get the insight of this data estate around that organization. What is the health of this data? If any classification of missing, is that metadata or any data does not have owner information, or the data expert, who is the expert of data, is this being missed? They can go and find out all the details. And underlying, you see that we have data map which automate and manage data at a scale, right? So that we are going to see when we will go in demo part. But why Microsoft Purview? What are the different challenges faced by data consumer? What are the challenges faced by producer? What are the challenges faced by security administrator? So let's think about the perspective of data consumer, right? If there is no central location to register their data sources, lot of user might be unaware of the data source, right? So they might not be able to reach to right teams to understand about data and use the data, right? They do not know how to connect this data unless they reach out to these teams to understand about data, right? So and user, if some certain consumer wants to consume some set of data, if you think that you have an organization which has some department like finance, some department sales, HR, and there are different teams which is producing the data, they have to reach to this different team to understand about data. They have to go through that documentation and understand. They have to get access to this data, and different team might have different standard around this one, so they have to deal with different type of scenario over there. Let's think about the challenges for data producer. Like they have to enumerate data sources all the times with descriptive metadata. They have to create the documentation for the data, and they have to keep updating when anything being changed, right? They have to maintain all this documentation, and also when consumer raise the request for accessing part, they have to maintain that access also. They have to keep track the access, that when that access will be revoked, and this producer has to keep periodic checking of this access, that still this consumer required this access or we have to revoke them. So these are few challenges faced by publisher also. Let's think about the challenges for security administrator also. Nowadays in organization, data is constantly growing, right? It is being stored in different storages, different type of storages, different type of databases. And the task for discover this one, they have to understand that which kind of data is being stored and which kind of data is being produced by different teams and which kind of data is consumed. Maybe some data contains bank information, maybe some data contains credit card information. Then it might be that PCI DSS compliance is applicable to this data. Some data might be storing that personal information, they come into GDPR scope. Some information might be related to financial data and it might come into SOX scope. So they have to find all these details, and then they have to create some policy, and they have to reach to different teams to implement this policy, and that takes a lot of time. So if they have some central place where they can go and implement this kind of things, they have to go and discover this kind the data and implement these policies. That will be great place to go. So let's think about how actually we do work, right? If you are generating some data and storing into a storage account or SQL Server or Azure SQL, some consumer comes, then you are going to add that one onto storage or SQL, or you can add that groups on that one to add this one, right? Same way we can define the policy inside Purview that okay, allow access to this group to this data resources, right? That we can do, and this will be much easier when you are going to a central location. The other security people can see that what policy you have created, or you can ask them to create that policy on behalf of your team. If you see that a policy is a named collection of policy statement, right? And policy statement is human readable instructions which we give, like allow this access to this group of people. If you see the action is operation being performed or denied as a part of policy, like you are going to perform read operation or write operation, modify operations, right? These are the action which is either allow or denied, right? Effect is that result of this policy, either allow or denied. Right now it is allow because by default it is denied. Nobody has access to that storage itself, right? So that is deny. So effect is right now only supported allow. What are the data resources? As we talked, that data resources is fully qualified domain name, and it will be as like subscription name, ID, resource group name, or blob name, whatever is there. For SQL Server it might be different. Subject is end user identity from Azure Active Directory, and it can be service principal, it can be individual user, or it can be a group or managed identity. And when we define the access policy, it can be hierarchical also. Suppose you have a storage account and there are a lot of containers inside that one, and there are a lot of entities inside that one. For SQL Server, suppose you have server and you have multiple databases, you have multiple schemas inside that one. So you can apply at the table level also, you can apply some policy on a schema level also, you can apply some policy on the database level also. And when policy Azure Purview is going to try to give the access, policy combining algorithm is going to work, and it is going to find out and traverse from child to root, and whatever most restrictive one is be there will be there for that certain user or group, it will be applicable. Suppose one policy is allowing read for that one data asset or container to fin data to this group of people, right? And the another is that deny read to this group of people, and one people is from both one, so deny will be applicable for that one, right? Because he has the part of two groups, and one is allowed and one is denied, so deny will be there. And when we create the policy, we create in a draft statement. Once we create the policy, we have to apply that policy, and it is a synchronous operation that will take 5 minutes to 2 hours to be effective, depending upon whatever source is that one we have selected for that one. So when we define the policy and apply the policy, when action is enforcement is going to take place, after that one, people who are going to be part of this policy are going to be affected. If read we have given to that group of people or that individual people, they will get the read access, or deny will be there. Now in some cases we can have also workflow for some of the tasks. So workflow are automated and repeatable business process. Suppose we have glossary inside Microsoft Purview, and somebody is coming to create or update or delete that one, and we do not want to apply as they do, right? We want to have an approval process over there for that purpose, that once they create that one, somebody has going to approve. For this purpose, the workflow are present. Similar thing we have for data governance also, that if somebody who is not part of policy and they have discovered their data set and they want to raise the request for accessing that one, then this data governance workflow is going to be triggered, and once approval is done for that request, if data management use is enabled for that source, then it will be access will be granted, or there will be task connector will going to create the task for manual provisioning purpose, that we will see that one. Microsoft Purview also provides the template like workflow templates, and there are right now two type of template. One is for data governance template, one is for data catalog template, and there are three connectors right now being provided. Approval connector, which is going to trigger a approval mechanism, and there are two type of approval: first to respond, and everyone must approve that one; and task connector, which is going to create a task and assign to user for doing some certain manual operation. In this case, that manually we have to assign some access to some storage or some places, data sources, that place. And the send email is the another connector which we have to send the email. We will see this all three. Data governance workflow are scoped to the collection, because when we create the collections and inside the collection, all this under root collection, depending upon our strategy to create based on either department or either based on country or continent, that will be applicable for that collection. It can be a child level or it can be root level also. Data catalog workflow are scoped to glossary one, so it can be bound to entire glossary or any single term also. If there is no workflow directly associated with that scope, the workflow engine will traverse and see that one, that which is the closest workflow associated with that hierarchy, and that workflow will be run. So this is what we are going to see in demo. Let's quickly go and run the demo. So for this demo, I have created Data Platform 2022 demo, and I have created Azure SQL and Lake also, the storage account Gen2s, so that we can connect this one as a source inside our Azure Purview and set up scans so that we can see some of the asset inside our Purview account. Let's go ahead and create Microsoft Purview. Let's search with, and this is the first one, which is that service which maximize the business value of data with Microsoft Purview, a unified data governance solution. So let's create this one, and let's put the name. I'm putting the Data Platform 2020, and I'm keeping into West US 2. and rest everything is default setting. I am not enabling anything new. Let me create this one. So Purview resource has been deployed. Let's go to resource. Now we can see that we have a link for opening the Microsoft Purview governance portal. Let's go over there. So the home page will come where we can see that there is no source attached, there is no asset attached, and if we search anything, there will be nothing. Let's search with sales. So there is nothing. If we go into browse asset also, then we will see only root collection. That no child collection is defined. Let's see some of the options which we have. Data catalog, which is the default screen where people can come, consumer can come and try to discover the data. Data map section where we are going to map our all organization data with this one, where we will create collection and we will map the data sources. We will register data set. We will set up a scan for this one. The another option which we have where people can share the data securely, that they can create share with other members, other team members. The data is state insight where leadership can come and see that how data looks like, what is the health of the data. So we will see once we attach some data set over here. So data policy is where we are going to create some policy in this demo. In management section, we can set up that lineage with the data share and data factory, and also we can do authoring and request workflow, and also we can create workflow for this demo, and then we can see all the details. So let's go to data map section and let's create the collection and child collection. So right now we have the root collection, which is data platform 2020, which is named on that organization or whatever name we have provided during the creation of this Purview resource. Now we can create the collections such as finance, based on if we decide to go with our department name, we can do that way. So let's create one more sub collection, which will be HR. We can create multiple based on this one. We can go ahead and create the child collection also, the this collection inside finance. If we want to go with some service inside finance, some teams inside finance, depending upon some application inside finance, so that we can do. And once we do that one, we can assign the roles also, that who will be the collection admin, who will be the data source admin, who is the curator for this data, who is the reader, who is the share contributor or insight reader, policy or workflow admin. These details we can set up based on collection also, root level collection also, and child level collection also. We can set up all the details, and based on these settings, the end user will be impacted. If consumer will have access to root level for that reader purpose, data reader, then they can see all the object inside this whole purview. Or if you want to restrict some user based on their department to discover that one, and then we can do that way also. So let's go ahead and attach some source with this purview instance. So we are into data map source section, and if you see that this tutorial, there are available sources which we can connect on that one, and this has good amount of source we can connect with Purview. So if we want to enable policy enforcement for any source, suppose in this case Azure storage account, then we have to run some PowerShell or some command in that source. In this case, we are registering that provider which called allow purview policy enforcement, in provider name space is Microsoft storage. We have to do this one. So I did this one into our subscription when I was creating these resources for demo purpose, this links for demo purpose. But when you do that after you create that storage, then it will work. So let's go ahead and register sources. Let me go this one, and I can say that finance lake. Okay, I'm going to finance one, and I'm going to use data use management. This is very important thing, that if you want to do automatically policy enabled thing, that once workflow is going to run, and then it has action item over their task to grant the access. So this is required for that purpose. So let's do that one, and once we do, let's register this source. So we can get this source like this one, and let's go ahead and set up the scan for this one. So let's go and see these details, and we can go and set up a new scan. And we have to add MSI as a data as a storage blob reader. So let me go ahead and add this one into our this one. Storage blob reader, and I can search with this name. Okay, let's go. Once it is done, then we can go and do the test connection. It is added. Let's do the test connection. Test connection is successful. Let's continue. Now it asks for a scope for that one. We can select multiple thing here. Either we can go for everything, either we can do the selective one. So based on our requirement, we can do that one. So let it be full now. And then what is the scan set rule, that what is the rule is going to apply when it is going to read the data file in that one, and it will try to do the classification and another thing. So let it go by default only. And right now I'm not going to schedule recurring one. I will go once, and let me save and run this one. So till that time it is running, let me set up another one. Okay, so now let's add another source. As Azure SQL database, and let's say that finance SQL. Let it put this one, finance, and let's enable this data use management. And for SQL Server, if you see data use management, you have different PowerShell to run based on that one. So I have run already because I have created resources previously for this demo. So that we have to do, and let's register this one. Let us set a new scan. Okay, SQL, and database name will be this one. We have to add this Purview account for lineage purpose. If you want to add, the permission will be different. For normal running, we will have to do differently. So let's run this one, and this will be command for this one. Let's go and add this user as external provider, and do this one also as a data reader. And let's go and test connection, and continue this one. Now once again we have to set up all this, what is the scope for a scanning purpose. We can select a single schema, a single table, or whole database. what is the scan set is going to apply. Let it be default for classification and other things. I am not going to set up a recurring schedule. Let it be once, and I will save and run this one. Till the time it is happening, I will go ahead and one more for HR. So I will go ahead and grab these details for Gen 2 one more time, and I will say that HR lake, and let's go for Gen 2 HR lake. I'm going to put in the Gen 2. Okay, let's set up the scan for this one also. Scan HR lake, and I have to give the access to this guy on this lake. Let's test the connection. Connection is successful. We have to scan scope our scan. I'm keeping all the default scan set rule set, and the scan trigger will be only once. I'm going to save and run it. So now all this run is happening. It will take few minutes, and then once it is done, we should be able to see all the asset inside data catalog. Let's go ahead into data catalog, and let me refresh this page because still now I'm not able to see no source, no asset. So let me refresh this page. Now if you see 3 source and 5 asset, it will be more because it will be scanning right now. So it will come, and if we go into finance right now, 5 is there for lake which we added, and few more will be coming from our scan set. If we go into data map section, and if we see that our sources, so if we go into this SQL, let's see that it is in right now, it in progress. So it will run and it will find some more asset. It will be 18. So it will how it is going to find out, and we can see all the details for this one. So now as we have collection setup, we have added some of the sources over here. Now we are good for going to see the policy. So let's go into policy section. We are not able to see new policy because we are not policy author on the collection side. Let me go into data map and collections, and we should be able to set it here from role assignment who will be the policy author. So we can do on child collection also, and we can do on the root label collection also. So I'm going to do for root label because this is the admin account. For child label we can do that who are the owner. Like let me do this one quickly so that we can say that we can set up data source admin data reader. So let me set up one user here who will be data user. So let me set up policy author on this label, and I can set up this one. And if we go into this section once again, policy author, so now I should be able to set up policy for our finance collection. So let me refresh this one. Okay, contact collection required policy, right? It is still asking. Let's see that one. Let me add on the root label policy author. Now let's go to policy author section, and I am able to see now new policy on that one. It is expecting for this user at least on the root label. Let's set up the policy. So when we go and set up the policy, we have to provide policy name like finance data access policy, and any description which we want to give that one. And then if you see the example policy statement, allow read on data asset finance and group to non-FTE, right? So this is what it is right now. Let me set up some groups over there into AAD so that I can show you. I do not have any groups, but I can quickly set up a group over there. Okay, so this is one group. Let me go ahead and now we can use this one. So if we click on that new policy statement, then we can set up this effect is always allow, and then action on the read, modify or what. So we are going on read, and data resources will be where in which resources. So we are saying that one we will go for gen 2, and data source type is gen 2 asset, and the lake one, this one we are going. Then it is going to ask that select the resource asset, so we are going to select this asset finance data. And now subject can be, if we go into see that, then we can give whatever name is there, or if we want to give something like that also, data on our demo one requester, and also we can try to give that on that group label. So let's give on group label. I have not added any user on group label, but if we add the group label users, then in membership we can add the users over there, add membership and users. And then it when we save this one, so when we save this one, we have to apply this one to be taken in effect. So we have to go and publish this one. Once we will publish this one, the people in this group should be able to access this resource from whatever purpose they want to use that one. So when we do the policy publish, we have to say that okay, which lake we are going to do that one, or which data source we want to do that one. So let's publish this one. This is a synchronous operation. It is going to take some time to be effect, and that is how that policy works. And when we create the policy, we can create from multiple, so we can have four, 5 policy we can create, and we can have that one for that root label, one for child label, on that entity level we can have, and that's how that policy is going to applied on the system. So security administrator can come, or different team can come and set up the data policy based on their need. Maybe they want to manage their own team access from this place only, at a single place only, or they want to manage differently. That's what they can do. Everyone can set up the policy for that one. So we will be not able to see this policy in effect in this demo, because it takes a synchronous, it takes more than 5 minutes. So let's go and see that one. So I have created one user who is normal requester in this subscription. So he does not have any access right now. If you log in with that data requester, he does not have any access for that. So we have to add this user on our collections. Let's go into data map section. In the collection section, let's go and try to add this guy as a reader. We can do on the root label also, we can specify. I just wanted to show you that if I will give the finance one, he will be not able to see the HR and other things. So let me quickly add this guy. So now I'm able to add this one as a data reader so that he has access to catalog object. So let's go back and let me refresh this page for that user. Now he is able to see that data platform 2020 account, and he should be able to see only that collection. If we go into data catalog section, he does not have access to more of the things, but he has access to 25 asset. And if we go into browse asset and let's see the collection wise, he has only collection on access. If we go into once again back, and if we add this guy for accessing whole organization data catalog, so that he can find whatever he needs, that one. So let me go and add that. Let me refresh once again. Now he is able to see all of this collection inside this one. And if we go, if any one of that thing, any of the collections, let's see, we have this file system, we have this gen2 service, we have account. Let me go and try to see this finance data. And if you notice that one request access is disabled right now for any of the access, it says that no self-service workflow is associated with this collection. So we have to go and set up something, self-service request data workflow. So let's go into our admin page and let's go to management section. Let's go to authoring tab. We can see that there is no workflow here, and we have to do this one. So let me go ahead and create a new workflow. We know from our PPT that there are two types of workflow: data catalog and governance. For request access purpose, governance workflow will be triggered because it says for data policy, access, governance, and loss prevention. So let's go and do this one. And we have only one data access request, so we can go ahead and say that okay. Now once this template has been created, we see that when data request is submitted, then it is going to start for approval, and approval type is two type: approval, everyone must approve and first to respond, and this then title and assigned to we can have dynamic based on asset also, that who is the asset owner, or we can go and type about aliases also, and maybe finance team or group, whatever is there, we can do that, right? But it should be mail enabled. That is the main thing we have to see, because we talked about this should be mail enabled. That is why let me do this one, asset owner. Eventually it will fail because this is also not email enabled. But if we see this one, once it starts the approval flow, it waits for completion. Once approval is done, it checks that okay, this data source registration is used for data governance. If it is registered for data governance, it is going to grant the access on this resource group, whatever data sub resource is there. Either if we have requesting, in this case we are requesting for gen2 account, then it will be given the access on gen2. If it will have SQL server, then it will go for that one. If not, this is not true, then it will create a manual task for manual provisioning of access to data set. And here also we have to give that alias, so we can go this way. And let me save and close this one. And so once we saved this request, we have to apply this workflow also. So let me apply to which collection we have to apply. So let me apply for finance one. Now if we go into requester flow, and if we refresh this page, now I'm able to see request access one enabled. Okay. And I can request for someone else also for my team. So if we see that one data access request or finance data was submitted and awaiting for approval, if I go in this section, I should be able to see run history, and it failed. Because of that reason only, I will show you how it should come into generally into workflow runs. Right now it is not coming into workflow runs. If I refresh also, it takes some time sometimes, so it is not coming. But this is how this flow will work. If it would have succeeded, the people assigned over there, it will go into their request queue and they will approve, and then it will going to provision all these things. So this is how this workflow works. Now let's see that when we have enabled this workflow and applied onto finance collection only, can we go and see that one what is happening in terms of HR1, because we have enabled this one. So if we go into HR1 and we see the employee, then still if we refresh also, the request access is disabled because there is no association is happened with this one. So this is how that workflow engine traverses and how it is working. Let's go and create a different type of workflow to see that that this is being failed for email region only. So let's go and create a data catalog workflow, and let's go next. And I'm going to create this workflow based on create glossary term and keep the same name. So now if we go into this workflow, when term request is submitted, it will do the same thing, and we have to provide one name. So I have only one guest account which is going to list here. And then if approval outcome is approved, because somebody is going to take approval action on this one, then it is going to create the glossary term and send the email notification, or it is going to send the rejection of reject email notification. Let me save this one. Once I save this, let me go to data catalog section one more time, and in the glossary section I can go ahead and create a new term with system default setting. I can give this one test workflow for term, right? And then right now if you see, create is coming because we have not applied that one, that workflow. So let me cancel this one and let me go back to this authoring tab. Let me take this one and apply it to workflow, and it will be applied when workflow scope as a glossary. We talked about this one in PPT. So I applied this one, and now let's go to data catalog section one more time, and in glossary section let's create one term. And now if you see this one, submit for approval is coming. So let me submit this one for approval, and it is submitted for approval. Let's go into once again management section. Let me go with authoring, and let's go for glossary item, and let's see what happened with view run history. And it also failed, and here is not much information it is giving, so we don't know why it is failed. But if you go into workflow run, for this it is coming here. If we go into this details, and if we see this which one is failed, user do not have emails. So this is one issue. For both it's failing, but due to some reason that access was not giving more details from here, and it is giving more details. So I wanted to show you guys. And eventually when it is going to work, it is the request is coming into queue, and once approval is done, whatever rest of action in workflow is going to be triggered. So this is what I wanted to share. And if we go into data state inside, we should be able to see about our health history for this one. So right now nothing we are able to see because we have not added this user for this purpose. So let's go into collection, and in role assignment let's see that one we have to add this one as inside reader. So let me add this. Now I have added this one and it is being listed here. Let's go to data estate insight, and now we should be able to see that some of the details which let me refresh this one. So if we go into management section, let's see that what is the setting for data estate inside request frequency. So last updated is not there. It will take some time to update the data estate, and then we can see that. After some time, when Purview is running the inside view, it generates this kind of view where we can see what data has a owner missing, what data is not classified in other details. I hope you guys like this demo, and a special thanks to Microsoft for supporting this communities. Data Platform Geek and SQL Server Geek are awesome community initiative. There are ways to win the prizes also. We can post our selfies and tag DPS 2020. Please do give the session and conference feedback. Please visit a sponsor and exhibitors also. Follow us on the Twitter @ of Data Geeks and Data AI Summit. Thank you once again.